And hello YouTube, and welcome back to another episode of The Zone TV Movie Entertainment with me, your host Jonathan, once again bringing you my thoughts and review for a show that I should have done a while ago, but I was kind of late to it. And that's for the probably one of the greatest things you could ever see on Netflix, and that's Cobra Kai. That's right, Cobra Kai, the sequel, continuation of the Karate Kid franchise. That's right, it is here. And I was a little late to it. I started watching it when season 2 premiered, and it was hard to play catch up, and had all the other DC shows, Marvel stuff. It was too much, and I never had a chance to actually sit down and watch Cobra Kai. And then I finally watched it, especially the first 2 seasons, and it blew my mind away. It was like, wow. And then I just finished season 3 that just happened, and now I'm claiming for more. So if you have not seen Cobra Kai and you don't know what it's about, Cobra Kai is a story that tells what happens to two characters that were pretty much enemies when they were kids in the Karate Kid franchise. Now you have Danny. He was the main person in the Karate Kid franchise. He was always getting bullied. He had this problem with this kid named Johnny, who was like this big tough kid who knew karate. He always picked on Danny. And, Danny, at the end of the films, he got his redemption. He became who he is. He learned his lessons, learn how to do karate the right way, instead of just, always, being your enemy, destroying them, and, killing them, basically, like how Johnny was taught. So, a couple years later, moving down all the way to their adulthoods, you have Danny, who's now very successful, and this is season 1, by the way. Danny, who's a very successful car salesman. He's the Valley's, basically, he's big, he's famous, everybody knows him. They all love, buying cars from him. He does this thing. He has a good life, beautiful wife, kids, he's happy. On the other hand, you have Johnny, who's kind of at the point where he has no idea what he's going to do with his life. He drinks a lot, he has these kind of like side gigs or jobs. They don't really work out for him. And then, he has a son as well, which you end up meeting later on in the series as it gets better. He has a son that he doesn't really pay mind to. His son's doing all kinds of, and by the way, spoilers if you haven't seen this show, but I'll try to keep it super non-spoilery if I can. But he tries to, get work. He can't really do anything. He loves to drink, but until one day he meets this kid named Miguel. Miguel kind of is like this normal kid, but good-looking teenager. Gets into a couple of trouble. He gets himself into some predicaments where he's not very good until Johnny has to step in and help him out, and then he helps him by protecting him from basically being bullied. And then Miguel asks him, hey, can you teach me that stuff? He goes, no, at first. And then, of course, he eventually does teach him. And then that starts off the beginning of opening up a brand new dojo called Cobra Kai. Cobra Kai was Johnny's karate school when he went to when he was a kid, when his master was teaching him about how to, hurt people and, don't let your enemies bully you. You be the bully, basically, kind of thing. Well, that's all happening. You have Danny, he's doing his thing. He finds out about Cobra Kai, and he's trying to wonder, like, wait, why the heck are you doing this? Flashbacks from the Karate Kid movies start coming into him. And the whole series is about Cobra Kai basically rising up into power again. At one point, they were the toughest thing there, and then they were gone. And now it's just Johnny trying to redeem himself, and he's trying to make Cobra Kai maybe a little bit better than he used to be. And for me personally, I think this first season was great. First of all, a lot of great laughs, and then it just tells you this, it gives you the side of Johnny that we never saw. Because in the original Karate Kid, he was a bully. He was all this, but then as he got older, he realizes, wait, well, this stuff doesn't really work. Maybe if I can help these kids to not be picked on, but to defend themselves. That way they can be better and not be bullies themselves. Maybe it will help out the kids who need it. He gets a bunch of kids. They end up training with him. And it turns out pretty dang well. Until Danny decides, you know what, I don't trust him. He doesn't trust Johnny at one bit. He's always getting the flashbacks of when Johnny was beating him up as a kid. They always bump heads, and I thought that the two of them still hating each other's guts worked really well. Johnny's trying to, move on, I guess, and do his own thing, and Danny doesn't want to let it go for some weird reason. But yeah, I thought the first season really was a great start. Great character development. Danny and Johnny were completely opposites in the Karate Kid. Now they really flipped the script on us. This whole first season, you want to root for Johnny. You really do. You really do. As you watch it, you want him to succeed and change Cobra Kai for what it really was. Because Cobra Kai was supposed to be that karate school that, like, oh yeah, you mess with me, I'm going to break your arm kind of thing. And he didn't want to teach the kid. Yeah, teach them how to be tough and, stand up to bullies. Yeah, sure. But not in a point where it's like, okay, he's getting really ridiculous. Don't do that. And, Danny, all the nightmares and stuff that he's been going through with them, he just doesn't want to let it go. He wants to make sure that Cobra Kai never comes back. And, the whole thing with them bumping heads goes through. He has a daughter of his own. She gets involved with the kid, Miguel. And then from there, it kind of spikes. And I thought the first season really, really was great. I wanted more. And then season 2, well, I'll talk about that in another video. But I enjoy season 1. Great characters. All the kids in the high school, they were actually all pretty cool. You have Samantha, who's like one of the main leads, the girl ways. And then, of course, you have her friend, who, I forgot her name. We all know who she is, but she's great. We have Miguel, his friends. He has a friend. There were a couple of nerds in his friend group before he became their karate, teammates. He had one kid in the class that kind of had a deform in his, around his face. I don't want to tell you what it is unless you haven't seen it, but he was always getting picked on because of it. And then you watch him in this show go from that kid who was always getting bullied, he's always sitting alone, to transform. And especially you watching the season 2, he completely transformed. And I'll get to that in the second, review for season 2. But yeah, what this has done for these kids was like, wow, what a transformation these kids go through. It's mind-boggling, but it pays off. And like some of these kids you want to root for, and then when you get to the second season and the third season, they transform to people you don't even recognize. You're like, wow, I don't know if I like that. Or maybe you do, depending on how you see it. But yeah, I'll talk about more about that in the second season 2 review. But yeah, I enjoyed the first season of Cobra Kai. I thought it was great. I had a lot of fun with it. Great moments. Love the flashbacks too. It wasn't so many flashbacks where you're like, oh, come on, really? You got to keep giving us? No, it was very subtle. They gave us the flashbacks to remind you, yeah, this happened, so it ties into what scene is happening during Cobra Kai, and it worked, and I really enjoy that. Because a lot of people probably don't even remember Karate Kid. Honestly, I haven't seen Karate Kid in like forever, so seeing those flashbacks reminded me about that. Seeing Mr. Miyagi in some scenes, it was great. I have to rewatch those movies again, because honestly, after watching Cobra Kai season 3, I just want to watch those movies again. Because, yeah, I haven't seen Karate Kid in forever. I love those movies. And there are certain characters in the second season and in the third season that are mentioned and in those seasons that reflect Karate Kid 1 and 2 and 3. So it really does, connect. And it works. It doesn't overshadow the characters that are in the show now. And it doesn't, diminish what happened during the Karate Kid franchise, and it just pays off really well. And I thought they did a great job of connecting all that together, so I enjoyed it. So season 1 is amazing. Go check it out if you haven't seen it. Go check it out on Netflix. You can binge watch all 3 seasons there, and you won't be disappointed. So leave a comment below. Let me know what you guys thought about Cobra Kai season 1. Did you guys like it? Did you guys hate it? Did you guys get bored right away? Or were you like me, who was like, I don't know. I thought the trailer was cool when I first saw the trailer, but I was like, maybe I'll wait to see what happens, and then it blew up. This thing was a YouTube thing, for Christ's sakes. This thing was on a YouTube, the YouTube streaming platform, whatever the heck that thing's called, And then I never got into it. And then when they finally moved to Netflix, I just forgot about it. And then season 2 came on, and then that's why I started catching up to it. I was like, this show is awesome. So yeah, give it a shot. So leave a comment below. Let me know what you guys thought. Thank you very much, and have a good day.